very well remember that in 2011, my brother Hitendra, he organized a cycle rally from Thana to Nasik, that is roughly around 150 kilometers on occasion of World Environment Day. So, and that rally had to be, we needed to pedal that 150 kilometers in, say, in a day's time. So we started training for that. It began with very small steps, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, and slowly it increased to about, say, 100 kilometers or so. That was the limit till 2011. Then 2012, we came to know that there is a race called as Tour of the Dragon, or it is also called as Death Race, and it is held in Bhutan by Bhutan Olympic Committee. And it's a world's toughest single-day bicycle event.
Okay.
Right. So it is around 268 kilometers, which crosses, half of the Bhutan, and you are given 16 and a half hours to complete that race.
Okay.
Which has got 8,000 meters of elevation. It's a Himalayan kingdom. So you need to cross 4 passes, and the maximum altitude was around 3,400, 500 meters. But each climb was around 1,200 meters or so, 2,000 meters or so.
Oh my God.
So a lot of climbing, it involved a lot of climbing. So this we did in 2012 September. So I distinctly remember that from May onwards, we started training for that. And within this was self-training. We were not taking help from any professional, coach or something like that. But we used to pedal roughly around 300 kilometers on a weekend, on a Sunday. And weekdays it used to be around 30 to 40 or 50 kilometers or so, because we had to get back to our work also, right? So Sunday was a holiday, so that time was utilized to the maximum extent. And in 2012, we completed that world's toughest bicycle race, MTB bicycle race, single day.
Okay.
So that was one turning point. And similarly, in 2012, I registered. I never ran before that, never ran a 10K also or a half marathon. I registered for a full marathon. So this was in Jan 2012. So 4 months before that, I started running long distances. And in the process, I lost around 12 kgs of weight. And that was my first marathon, which I did in 4 hours, 26 minutes or so.
Okay.
So 2012 was a turning year, you can say. There was a full marathon in the January, and in September there was this Tour of the Dragon. So this is how I got introduced to running, as well as long distance running, as well as cycling. And around 2013 end, I came to know that there are breves being conducted in Mumbai, Pune, and few cities. So breves, as you must be aware, they are affiliated to France, and the kilometers vary from 200 to say 1,000, 1,200 kilometers, and they are time-bound events. So as I came to know, I registered in a 300 kilometer event, and that I did completed well within time. And then I came to know that there is super randonneur series. That means the rider has to ride in a year 200, 300, 400, 600, and he's called a super randonneur. So when I came to know about it, then within a span of 2 months, I completed all the rides. So my brother and me both used to ride this, and amongst say a group of 20 to 40 riders, we used to be usually the first ones to finish. Why I want to say this was because when things becomes achievable to you, or you perform better in that, you always look for a bigger horizon. You want to do something more. This is just a quest to prove yourself, I would say. I mean, as I said, that when you do it much before the time limit, cutoff time, so it is always something. Then came the Deccan Cliffhanger race. Deccan Cliffhanger is a RAM qualifier race. So that was in February 2014. By this time, I was 37-year-old or so. I mean, just that I started at the age of say around 36 or so, and so we came to know about this Deccan Cliffhanger, which is supposed to be a RAM qualifier race. So that is when we started reading about RAM. So RAM, we came to know it's a 5,000 kilometer race, and we thought it is not our cup of tea. I mean, why should we participate for a qualifying event So we came to know that there are only 4 riders in India who have qualified for RAM, qualified to participate for RAM, right? So that was one point which, which we thought that if we complete in well within time, so we'll be at least counted in the first few riders who qualified for RAM. So with that sole intention, we went there, and it starts from Pune, and you have to go all the way to Goa, and meanwhile you have to climb the Mahabaleshwar Ghat. There's a lot of elevation, around 4,000 meters of elevation, and 32 hours are given to complete that race. So I remember that in the first 20 hours, I completed my 500 kilometers. And then I was sure that I'm going to, complete it. So I took a 1 hour break, and I finished it. I stood second, and Hitendra came third. And that is how we qualified for RAM. We have this very good group of, friends and supporters. So they, after doing this, and after a month, we rode a 1,000-kilometer breve also. This was in Feb 2014, and March, we did a 1,000-kilometer breve from Delhi, Wagah border, and back to Delhi. 75 hours were allotted, and we completed it in 61 hours, 14 hours before the cutoff time, and we were the first ones to finish. So because of these 2 events, our friends and supporters, they said that you're doing so well, I mean, you should go for RAM. And there was our mentor, Mr. Harish Bejal, he's a DCP, and he said, Doctor, abhi karna hi hai RAM aapko. So then we started seriously thinking about a race across America, and it has a huge budget, and it has other difficulties which will come to.
I'm sure.
And this event, when we thought of participating, there is a solo category and team categories, right? So a solo rider is given 12 days to ride from. Before coming to that, I mean, Race Across America is this event has started 35 years back. In 1983, this event started. So it's the longest running and world's toughest bicycle race. It's a single stage race. What it means is, once the clock starts from West Coast, when you're flagged off, the clock is not going to stop, irrespective of anything, irrespective of rain or storm or whatever comes in your way. The clock is not going to stop. It starts from West Coast. There is a town named Oceanside in California. From West Coast, you start riding towards the East Coast of America. You cross the entire North America continent. And it is roughly around 3,070 miles or so, which comes to 4,900. So we'll say roughly it will be 5,000 kilometers you have to ride. And as I said, the clock doesn't stop. For a solo rider, 12 days are given. So on an average, a solo rider should ride for 420 kilometers at least per day to successfully complete this race. And as a team of two, we were given 9 days. So suppose you want to complete the race in 8 days, like if you divide 4,800 by 8, so roughly 600 kilometers. As a team of 2, you have to ride in a relay format in 24 hours. I won't say day, and it goes day and night. It is continuous riding.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And it is in a relay format, right? And you can change however frequently or infrequently you want to, and you have to ride the distance, right? So clocking 600 per day, 24 hours, and going on doing that for 8 days was something crazy. And I distinctly remember then we thought the way we are riding, that won't be sufficient. So we took help of our, we took help of the coach. Miten Thakkar is a person who is based in Bombay, and he prepared a very systematic and in detail plan for 9 months. And since we were not into professional cycling or so what we did was, whatever plan he had done, training plan he had done for us, we just strictly followed it, right? Coming back to RAM, I just told you about the distance. That's around roughly 5,000 kilometers. That has to be done in 12 days by a solo rider and 9 days in a team of 2. And you cross through various topography, and terrain is very, very difficult, extreme. I mean, initially in the state of Arizona, the temperature goes up to 46 degrees Celsius in a daytime, and the day is longer. I mean, till 8 o'clock there is a sunshine, So initially there is a very hot and arid desert that you need to cross. And this goes on for, first 1/3 of the race, like around 1,000 miles or so. After 1,000 miles, you enter into a state called Colorado, where there are Rocky Mountains, which is similar to our lower Himalayas. So the highest point is around 10,800 feet. That is called Wolf Creek Pass. And you start from sea level, right? You start from sea level and you end at sea level. So the highest point that you go is 10,800 feet. And there are snow-clad mountains over there. After that, you cross a state of Kansas, which is relatively flat. It's if the wind is favorable, plays a very vital role in cycling, long distance cycling. If wind is favorable, this is the best terrain to ride, Kansas, which is a flat terrain. And towards the east side of the America, you have again Appalachian mountain ranges.
Right.
That is, you get climbs of around, say, 500 to 600 meters, and that goes on rolling. The entire terrain is very rolling. And I mean, we faced rains for roughly 1,000 kilometers. We did not see a sunshine also. 1,000 kilometers, either it is it is raining or it is cloudy.
Right.
So your apparels also won't dry. Right. So this is the temperature variation and the topography. It is said that once you ride the entire distance from west coast to east coast, a rider climbs 170,000 of vertical feet, or you can say around 50,000 meters of altitude. So as we are aware that US, America has got interstate highways, and cycling is not allowed on the interstate highways. So you are given countryside road, which has got lot of up and down. Right. I mean, if I compare Race Across America altitude and Golden Quadrilateral, so in our India we don't have much much of a climbing or that sort of terrain. Rolling hills, yeah, that is much more in Race Across America. So challenges that we personally faced was like it was my first visit to America.
Right.
And that we ride over here from the left side of the road. There you need to pedal on the right side of the road. So that was new for even the crew members.
True.
Right. So we had a very good cohesive team of doctors. Some were good at driving, some were good at navigation. There are 3 jobs that are done by the crew. That is, they drive behind you a vehicle, they navigate you. This course has to be followed. I mean, this entire course is divided into 55 time stations, right? At an interval of say 100 to 150 kilometers or so, into 55 time station, and you are given a detailed map, right? So you have to follow that map. If you lose the way, you have to come back to the place from where you lost, and you have to start again. So that is considered as your error, and there is no extra time benefit that is given for that. So you have to follow rules and regulation, traffic rules and regulation, the race rules and regulation, and you have to pedal through this distance. So it is quite challenging actually. And the difficulties that I faced was, initially when I started, I was in a high morale and I just pedaled very hard. And since it was a desert, I went into dehydration. So I got cramps very badly. I mean, in the first, say 200 kilometers itself, I got cramps. And then Hitendra took over, and he was better at tolerating, a hot temperature. Heat. And vice versa, I was better at tolerating cold. So that helped us, that helped us to a very large extent. So later on, I also joined, but I was not doing that great initially. So slowly, I recovered through that dehydration. So that was one thing. And on the second day of ride, there was a very, very, steep downhill, and Hitendra was going really fast. And there was an abrupt turn. This was in the desert, and there was it was an hot afternoon, and there was an abrupt turn after that, and the cycle could not be controlled. So he had a very bad fall, to an extent that he was bruised on his left side entirely, right from the knee to thigh to shoulder. And his 2 nails, ripped off. The one nail got fractured, and the second was out from the nail bed. But I was waiting for my turn. I was waiting for him to approach. He just picked up the bicycle. He reached to where I was waiting for him, and so that I could, so that the time is not lost. And I started cycling, and then he told his crew member that he had a fall, and then his wounds were washed and dressed. And fortunately, we had a plastic surgeon also with us during that time.
Oh, nice.
So what I mean to say is, and you are in such a determined stage of mind that you don't want to leave the race like this. You know, you have prepared for that for 1 year. You have been preparing. You have raised the funds of around say 50-60 lakhs. There are 12 guys which are working for you, who have left their own, you know, routine and come to help you. Now, when I say 12 guys, why do you require 12 guys? Actually, I have got one follow vehicle, like a Fortuner or so. And that is my, you know, that is like my home now. I will have all my apparels, all my eating stuff, all my extra bicycle, all my wheels in that. Right. And similarly, there'll be a second vehicle which will be dedicated to Hitendra. Right. So in one vehicle, there are 3 guys working for me. One is driving, second is navigating, and he's communicating those route to the driver as well as to the rider. I am wearing a helmet and I have got a Bluetooth device on which he's saying that, say, Mahendra, there is a right turn after 1 mile or so. Right. So that instruction a navigator has to done. It's a full-time job. Driver has to do his full-time job, riding the vehicle from the right side of the road. And there is a caretaker who sees to who gives me all the nutrition that I require. Right. So there are three guys working for me, 3 guys for Hitendra. So there are 6 guys who are, you know, working at one given time. Now, how long they will work? They'll work for 12 hours, 14 hours. They need a replacement of another 6 guys, you know. Another set of 6 guys will come, will replace these 6 guys who has finished their duty. Now, these 6 people who have finished their duty will have to go in a third vehicle and go ahead 300 kilometers or so, because in the next 12 hours, when they are, in the next 12 hours, you know, we will be crossing that 300 kilometers.
True.
So another set of, 6 people will come. So there are 12 guys altogether working for just 2 of us who are pedaling day and night. Right. And how is it done? Like in the nights, we take 4 hours turn. Right. When I am riding for 4 hours, Hitendra will, suppose I have finished my 4 hours. Now now Hitendra is going to ride for 4 hours. Normally it is 10 to 2, 10 o'clock in the night to 2 o'clock in the night. And another guy takes over from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. Right. So night gets divided into 4 hours, 2 shifts. Right. Now, if I have completed my 4 hours, now I have got 4 hours to rest. Now, when I finish my ride, I will be all sweaty. I will change my apparels, eat something, and then try to sleep, thinking that what has gone wrong in the day, what is going to, you know, what is the next challenge, thinking that I'll eat something, sleep, and before half an hour I'm woken up. So I don't get a sleep more than 3 hours, a sound sleep. Right. Now once I wake up, I have to again wear those apparels. I'm already so hungry in that 3 hours. All my calories, I'm burning around 10,000 calories in a day, which is not possible to replenish by any sort of food.
Anyway, obviously.
When it comes to nutrition also, you need to depend on a lot of nutrition powders and all for that. But then coming to the point that again I have to get ready. So 3 hours of sleep, and on that 3 hours of sleep, whatever rest I've got, I have to ride for 21 hours.
Right.
Obviously, even if it is in a taking turns. Like during the days, we used to ride 10 to 15 miles, and that used to be really fast. You know, we changed turns as frequently as possible and as fast as possible. Whereas in the night, it was a 4 hours of continuous riding. So this is the strategy about it. And there are 12 guys working for you to do this day and night.
Amazing.
So first challenge which I mentioned was the dehydration that I faced. Second challenge was on the second day, Hitendra had a very bad fall. And still he continued. Then he got his dressing done. And I was waiting for his turn. Why he's not coming to replace me? Then I got to know that he had those dressings. And usually in the photographs, he used to avoid that because, at home, those photos used to get posted and all, everything.
True.
So I remember we crossed Colorado and it started raining a bit. And there was this huge, this was the 4th day. And there was this huge downhill which I got after
Okay.
going to 10,000 feet, and it had rained. And on this downhill, usually the cycle goes into a tremendous speed up to 80 kilometers, 80 kmph. I have ridden in the Ram.
Oh,
So at 80 kmph, when you're going down on a wet road, I couldn't control my bicycle, and it started shivering, sort of shivering, you know. So then I thought I'm going to fall. Now this is beyond. I tried all the possible things to control, but it went into a vibration. Then I
right.
selected a spot where I want to fall. Like by the side of the road, there was bushes. So I thought I'll just go into that. And I had a fall, like similarly. But then what happens is you're so determined that I just got up, and I thank God that it is not a fracture. The bruises and all, it is part and parcel of the game. After all, it's a 5,000 kilometer of riding, and these things are going to happen. And later on, when we were in Missouri, Washington, it's a small place. From there,
Okay.
it started raining, and it was when it rains in eastern part of USA. It rains torrentially that you cannot see. I mean, अपने यहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत बारिश में चल जाता है, दिख जाता है थोड़ा बहुत, but बहुत
Right.
there's a heavy rainfall, and we had to literally stop 3 hours. That happened twice. 2 times it happened that we were not able to ride because of the loss of visibility. There is no visibility, so you cannot ride. Now this
Oh,
time that is lost is not considered. I mean,
right.
it is part of that 9 days. Whatever happens in that 9 days, you have to
True.
deal with it. That's all. Yeah. And this is how later on in the east side, when you come towards the fag end of the race, there are
Right.
this hilly terrain, very hilly terrain. They are called Four Sisters and all, like continuous 4 ghats. And then
Okay.
the fatigue or sleep deprivation that starts to set in. I mean,
Right.
involuntarily your eyes will close, and you just have to. And since it was raining for such a long time, Hitendra had a hypothermia. He was shivering in the night. In the night it becomes very cold. During the day when it is raining, it's okay. But in the night, as the temperature drops and you're riding in the rain, it is very cold. So
Exactly.
Ram is a brutal race. It throws a lot of challenges to you, and one needs to be, mentally very, very prepared, very, very strong, with the intention that this is the first and the last chance for me. I am going to go to the finish line. Yeah. That is what is that sort of determination is required actually. And of course, when I initially said we were trained by Miten Thakkar, and he initially there was a lot of volume training, that is a lot of kilometers for the first 3 months, right? To an extent that we used to ride 300 and 350 kilometers in a day in a 12 hours or 14 hours span. And later on, it was intensity training in the middle part. We used to climb ghats, 5-6 times and race against each other and that sort of training. And later on, it tapered. So what I want to make it a point here is, when you are doing such activities, you should aim for the sky. So what we thought was, what we targeted was, the record time of 2-man team. It was roughly around 7 days. So we approached, Miten told us, our coach we told him that you have to give us such a training that we should be able to achieve that target. So we slogged for that. We literally slogged, worked very hard for that. And when you target for when you aim for the sky, you will at least be on the treetop. So we managed to finish the race at least. Yeah. Here I want to make a point that there were 6 teams. There were 4 teams from America. In a team of 2 category I'm talking about. There were 4 teams from America. One was an Indian team, our team, and one team was from Denmark. And 3 teams got disqualified within first 800 kilometers. So, you have come there to ride around 4,800 kilometers, and people getting disqualified in first 800 kilometers. This is just because of the dehydration and hospitalization that is required for the riders also. The Denmark rider was hospitalized after 800 kilometers. So because here both the riders have to perform. Even if one backs out, that sort of chemistry is bonding and chemistry is required to keep going, to keep covering.
So tell me this, on a scale of 10, how do you rate? So RAM you finished in how many? 8 days?
8 days, 14 hours, yeah.
14 hours, huh? Amazing. And you were first among those 16?
No. Actually, there were, in our age category, that is below 50 years.
Okay.
There is below 50, above 50, there is male and female.
Okay. Achha.
So there were actually two teams in each category.
Okay.
So, and one got disqualified in each category. So whoever finished came first in their category.
No, that's still amazing. Those many kilometers, the 8 days and all. So on a scale of 10, how do you rate RAM vis-a-vis Cliffhanger, vis-a-vis, let's say, Golden Quadrilateral or Kashmir to Kanyakumari? I mean, what is the comparison in the level of difficulty and the level of planning, preparation for, different events which you have done? And those events are, again, mind-boggling.
No, right. Like Golden Quadrilateral, we did in a, it's our country. So we know what is traffic, what are the roads, at least that things are we are aware of. We are aware of topography and terrain. So after RAM, doing a Golden Quadrilateral was not much difficult because we had to use the same team of two format, right? We know what has to be done now.
Correct.
With the experiences that we gained from RAM, we know how to ride and how to clock maximum distances, how frequently to change, how infrequently to change. And Golden Quadrilateral was not that difficult, and we don't have that temperature variation also like in RAM.
True.
So compared to RAM, Golden Quadrilateral, although it was 1,000 kilometers more, Golden Quadrilateral is we started from Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi, and back to Mumbai. So this is 6,000 kilometers, and we did it in 10 days, 19 hours. So roughly we clocked similar kilometers only as we did in RAM as well as Golden Quadrilateral, but Golden Quadrilateral is comparatively easier. Now in RAM you require a very good crew. If your crew is, if they make navigation errors, or if they don't cooperate, or then your whole your race goes for a toss. So there is lot of planning required in RAM compared to Golden Quadrilateral also. And Kashmir to Kanyakumari we cannot compare with this because RAM and Golden Quadrilateral, we both brothers rode in a relay format, right? Whereas Kashmir to Kanyakumari was my solo riding, which I did in 2018, recently in November 2018, from Srinagar to Kanyakumari. And that was my first.
That must have been again more difficult doing a solo?
Doing a solo, yes. Actually, it all depends upon in how many days you want to do it, right? I was amongst the first one to do this. So I was given 12 days to do, right?
Okay.
Now I was given 12 days. So I knew that in 12 days it is quite doable.
Okay.
Right. I finished the ride in 10 days, 9 hours, 59 minutes. Say 10 days, 10 hours.
10 hours,
so even though I was given 12 days, I tried to do it in as much as lesser time as possible, so that when other person does it, he has to do it in a lesser time.
Obviously, yeah.
Right. So even in 10 days, so average I clocked around 370, 360, 350 to 380 kilometers per day. Solo riding, yeah. But it has its own challenges because you don't get time for recovery. As in a team of two, there is at least some time you get for resting. But it is again, I'll say that the intensity depends upon the target, like target in the sense the duration that is allotted to you. Right. Suppose now the K2K has to be done in 8 days. So that Kashmir now it has to be, now Bharat has done it in 8.5 days. So now if another person has to be, now somebody has to do it, he has to do it within 8.5 days. So now the challenge becomes more challenging. Yeah.
Obviously.
As the days get decreasing.
That's right. So tell me this, Mahendra bhai, I also started similar to you in 2013 with cycling. I also came to know there is a Super Andino series. 2015 I did 600 kilometers Super Andino, and after that it was thank you. After that I have never ridden more than 100 kilometers. So what keeps you pushing, doing RAM, doing Golden Quadrilateral, doing so many things. You have car, I'm sure. So why do you need to cycle so many kilometers? That is always the doubt. What is the requirement? What
No,
pushes you
actually,
so much?
yeah, there is each time there is a reason. There is a reason why I say that was like 2015 we did RAM, and
Okay.
people, there is a perception like people think that the American roads are so good. Like if you start pedaling from one end, you will reach. वहाँ सड़क तो बहुत चिकनी होगी, बहुत ये होगी.
Exactly.
तो
Yeah, that's a basic thing. I mean, sure.
yeah. That perception is there, and we used to introduce as an international cyclist. So we thought, why not come out of this, international cyclist, America, come out of that, and we wanted to do something bigger than that. So that is why we chose bigger in the sense longer than that.
Right, I'm sure.
So 6,000 kilometer, our Golden Quadrilateral is longer than that, and in a similar format. So this was in a way a proof that you can do similar sort of cycling in India also, and that can be done with a similar intensity, clocking 550 kilometers roughly a day. So that was the point to prove. And one more thing why we participate is, we always, like when we did Golden Quadrilateral, we went with the slogan of follow the rules and India will rule.
Right.
So we created pamphlets urging people, to follow the rules, all the rules that are not only traffic rules, but whatever rules the Indian Constitution has laid down.
Oh, nice.
Correct. So if you follow the rules, then our country will, it has a lot of potential to grow. Now, even today, in the pandemic of Corona, we are following the rules of, lockdown.
Social distancing.
Probably that is the reason that why we are not seeing exponential growth of cases and fatalities as it is seen in Europe and America. So this is a very good point. I mean, that we are following rules. So that was the thing why we did Golden Quadrilateral. And I always wanted my name somewhere to be in, Guinness World Record. So I was searching for some opportunity. And this Guinness people are, if you want to do something in relay, they are not very comfortable, or they ask, when for Golden Quadrilateral, they just gave us 7 days. Now 6,000 kilometers in 7 days means clocking 900 kilometers per day, boss, with in Indian traffic,
Yeah, exactly.
and road conditions. So that was not at all feasible. And when I applied for a solo, the target was reasonable, we can say.
Okay.
So my desire to be in Guinness World Record was an opportunity which I grabbed in the form of Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And coming to Everest part, what we thought was like there are a lot of us who climb Everest nowadays.
Right.
So, and we were known as a cyclist, more of a cyclist. So we thought, let's do it from sea to sky.
Sea to sky.
We know that Everest is the highest point on the earth, 8848, 29,028 feet. But this height is measured from mean sea level.
Right.
Right. Not from base camp. Base camp itself is at 16,000 feet. Right. So whatever is the measurement is given from sea level. So let's start the journey of which will be human powered, as much as possible human powered. So that is why we pedaled from Gateway of India, Bombay to Kathmandu, and from there to base camp and to the Everest expedition. Coming to the trekking part of it, our Everest expedition, actually Hitendra was, right from the beginning, from his college days, he was into a lot of trekking, even rock climbings, and he has done his basic and advanced mountaineering courses, and Everest was always a dream for him.
Okay.
So obviously when he put a thought that we'll do Everest, then I jumped onto the opportunity, and
along with them,
we thought, let's do it together. Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
That was his brainchild. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the benefit of viewers, I'll just tell that Hitendra is the elder brother of amongst the Mahajans. And the thing is that he's been more into mountaineering, and then Mahendra has been pulled into mountaineering by Hitendra. So we'll have a separate session with Hitendra specifically focusing on this. Right. So tell me this. We were talking about that you do whatever expeditions, whatever challenges you do with a social cause. Right. So how does that come into being? And coming on to the medical aspect of the situation wherein at present, you both brothers being doctors, how do you manage adventure which, I mean, so which is so very, very time consuming? Leave the event part, the training, I'm sure, takes so much of energy.
Right.
Then how does your job permit giving time to so many things?
Just I'll come to the introduction. I am a dentist by profession. I have my private dental clinic, right? Now I start the clinic at 10 o'clock, right?
Okay.
So whatever time I have before 10 o'clock is my time, right?
Okay.
So if I have to train for something, what I'll do is I'll get up at 6 and I'll do weekdays training cannot be, whenever we do training during the weekdays, it is an intense training. We don't just go and pedal and come. It is like going beyond your comfort zone. So that intensity training, if you do for 2 hours, it is more than enough.
Okay.
Right. On the weekdays I'm talking about. So weekdays, I have to devote my 2 hours, spend full energy, come back, have a bath, go to clinic. Right.
Okay.
So after 10 o'clock, I am in my clinic. And obviously, when you're doing a lot of intensity training, you have little fatigue. So you come back home, you eat, you eat and you sleep. Only we used to do when treating the patients and sleeping. That's all.
Okay.
That's all is you have to remain very, very focused during that time. And Hitendra being this is about weekdays I told about. Now, whatever lengthy, long workouts has to be there. They are always on a Sunday when my clinic is closed. Right from the beginning of my practice, I have been keeping one day for myself, that is Sunday. And whenever I have to do long distance training, suppose for RAM or even Golden Quadrilateral or whichever this thing, we used to often do 300 kilometers, start 6 o'clock in the morning, come back by 6 o'clock in the evening. And we had done with 300 kilometers. And with that fatigue, get up Monday morning and go to clinic. But Monday, since Sunday was a long hour training, Monday the training was off. So sometimes when you are finishing the, Sunday rides, when I'm about to finish, it was a sort of, ki kal to Monday ki chutti hai.
Right.
Matlab for training part I'm saying.
So you mean to say that lesser mortals, once they see, okay, Sunday is approaching, they'll rest. For you, it used to be harder workouts. And that is your definition of rest, you want to say? Sunday
is the longer workouts. Monday is the rest day. And Tuesday, again, you start morning 1 to 2 hours or so of training. So this is what we did throughout our, from RAM to Everest. From RAM to Everest, this was the schedule. Now, Hitendra being an anesthetist, initially he was a freelancer. So he used to get calls anytime on his phone, like any operation used to get scheduled. So usually he used to train sometimes in the morning, major operations are in the morning. So he used to train in the afternoon, weekdays training that he used to do in the afternoon, evening, whatever time he gets. So that was the training part. And Sunday we used to train together. For longer,
then tell me this basic doubt. You tell me, if whole day you're like this on weekdays, weekends you're doing long workouts. I'm sure you both have families.
Yes.
And how do you survive? Because the way you're saying, it's all focused approach. I mean, you've got to be 110% focused. Then only you can do something like a RAM or the kind of challenges you have done.
Absolutely, Romil.
Tell me their role.
Because the support of your wife has to be, without that you cannot do. I mean, when you are burning say 1,000 to 2,000 calories in a weekday and 7,000-8,000 calories on a weekend. So our whole kitchen and their preparation used to go about our what nutrition we require.
Absolutely.
And basically there is also a little bit of, you have to be very cautious when you're riding on Indian roads. You have to be very, very cautious. At least in US, there is a long downhill and that nobody's going to intersect you at a crossing. But here when you're riding in India, those who are listening, I would say that wear as fluorescent things as you can, make yourself visible. Don't put earphones, all your eyes, all your senses, 6 senses has to be used on the road, because on the opposite side, you know, you will not motorcycle bhi aa jati hai aur truck bhi opposite direction mein aa jati hai. So you have to be very, very cautious. So there is little bit of risk involved also. But I'm sure if you are very alert and very attentive, you need to be. That somewhat somewhere in the back of the mind, that fear is also there with your family, you know.
Absolutely.
But so far so good, and as I said, make yourself most visible as you can, and never. कैसा हो जाता है fatigue में you tend to see down, so even while cycling, so you have to be 100% attentive. That is very important.
Other thing you tell me, after 600 kilometers I cannot sit for next 2-3 days I cannot sit because the bums are so sore. How do you manage that after thousands of kilometers? How do you sit? What do you use?
No, this is called saddle soreness, right?
Correct.
This is called saddle soreness. One very basic thing is you have to get used to it. First of all, anybody who will start cycling will bound to have a saddle soreness.
Right.
Initially, maybe after 10-20 kilometers. Later on, as you're, you know, our body is such a fantastic thing. The more you torture, the more it becomes, it repairs very well. I mean, the skin of your buttocks also tend to become little more keratinized.
Okay.
थोड़ा thick हो जाती है चमड़ी अपनी धीरे-धीरे. So first thing is getting used to sitting on the saddle for a long time. Initially, everybody is going to have soreness. Secondly, you need to change saddles. You need to try saddles.
Okay.
सीट जो होता है ना साइकिल का, वो हो सकता है जो आपके साइकिल के साथ आया है. That might not be comfortable for you.
No, but then for your distances, nothing can be comfortable.
Yeah. I understand. I'm coming to that. That saddle you have to try. There are many places now in Bangalore, Mumbai, where they do saddle analysis. They will measure the distance between your bone prominences of your bumps. That is called ischial tuberosity. And according to that, you know, females will require a wider saddle. So saddle analysis is one thing. So you have to keep on trying with the saddles. Thirdly, you need to use a cushioned bib shorts.
Okay.
Right? And if you are doing long distance, you need to change those shorts also, because of the sweat, there will be crystals of salt which are formed.
Correct.
Right? You have to keep the hygiene of the area. When you are doing multi-day events now, you have to take, you need to use wet wipes to keep it clean, keep the area clean. So that is there. There are different saddles, like there are infinity saddles. You know, it has a hole where your bum prominences are there, or your bum bones are there.
Right.
So I use that infinity saddle also. There are some by Brooks saddles, Brooks company.
Okay.
The leather gets adapted to your size. So these are the certain things. And very important is when you're doing a long ride now, say after every 5 minutes, you should get up from the saddle. You should go off saddle, and you should ride for, 3 to 4 minutes or 1 minute, or at the end of every climb you get up. So when you get up, what happens? The area of compression is there. Your bumps are in a compressed state. So when you're sitting on a saddle for a long time, so the blood supply to that area goes down.
Okay.
So when you lift your bumps and when you go off saddle and ride, you little airy. It becomes little airy, and that pressure goes off. So that is also very important to prevent those saddles soreness. And even if you are taking all the care, you are bound to get soreness.
Exactly.
Right? Some people are prone, some people are little less prone to it. Even your core strength matter. When your core is good, you don't put your entire weight on the saddle.
Okay. Right. Got it.
So that also matters. And what happens, when you're riding for long distance now, I'm talking about multi-day events. You will have your saddle soreness, you will have a little bit of back pain, and your mind cannot handle third pain now.
Right.
You're getting what I mean to say. Suppose my bumps are paining, my back is also paining, and any third stimulus of pain, what will happen? My brain will now forget about saddle soreness.
Okay.
this is very, I mean, I'm talking about extreme stages when you're, 2-3 things starts spinning, one goes off.
Simultaneously. Yeah.
So
So
basically,
tell me this, how do you train mentally for such kind of things? Because I'm sure there is one aspect of planning, there is one aspect of your training, physical, and then the mental, which I'm sure mental is the toughest part and the most challenging. So how do you train mentally for this?
actually, we were fortunate to have Mr. Bhishmaraj Bam. He's a sports psychologist. He is no more now, but he had been he had trained our Indian team or Olympic team, many from Sachin Tendulkar to Virendra Sehwag and even Heath Setis and all. So when we met him before RAM, he said, see, you're going to go through a lot of pain. But is anybody forcing you to do that? We said, no, it is your voluntary decision. It is you who have decided that you are going to put your body through torture. So when you have decided, you have to enjoy it. I mean, or to an extent, you have to be motivated कि मेरा जन्म ही ये करने के लिए हुआ है, मेरे को यही करना था, इसीलिए तो मैं यहाँ आया हूँ, है ना? मुझे रैम करना था, मुझे 8 दिन ये बारिश, ये धूप, everything, I wanted to go through this. So when somebody is forcing it, there are, in endurance activities, there are 1,000 reasons for you to leave that event.
Exactly.
But there is one positive attitude that, yes, I want to do it and I want to give my best and I'm going to stop only when I reach the finish point. मेरे जो भी aches and pains को मुझे pamper करना है, वो मुझे finish point पे जाने के बाद ही करना है. I mean, with that positive mindset only you can do such activities. That is very important. And, meditation, pranayam, that also helps you to concentrate.
Overcome.
Yeah. And
we are running short of time. We have only 10 minutes. So we'll start with the questions which people have been asking. And I'm sure there are lots and lots of things, but then we'll just go through a few of them. First was, which we asked earlier, I mean, which had come earlier, which was like, what do you think a person can ride in one day? I mean, there have been people who've been riding. आपने सबसे ज़्यादा एक दिन में कितना ride किया हुआ है? And I think it's achievable.
My solo riding was around 600 kilometers or so, 600 to 630 kilometers in a day when I was riding alone. 600? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because as I said, this was achieved very, very early. When I was doing Deccan Cliffhanger, I had done 500 kilometers. I started from Pune and I stopped at Dharwad. When that time 20 hours were, I had done these 500 kilometers in 20 hours.
Okay.
Right. And next another 100 kilometers or so.
Got it.
Next 100 kilometers or so, I did it in remaining hours. So when I was riding alone, I clocked around, say, 600 kilometers. And when we were riding in a team of 2, it was in Kansas State, I remember, me and Hitendra, we clocked around 720 kilometers in 24 hours.
Amazing. So 720 in 24 hours, that would mean on an average 30 kilometers per hour you've been riding? Non-stop?
Yeah, around more than 25. Around 25 or so.
Okay, next question. So, I've been seeing a pattern that every year you do something which is beyond imagination. So 2018, 19, 15, whatever, you name a year and you have, what next for you? Because I'm sure I don't see any more challenge which can be taken up after all these things which you've done. What could be next?
I have not thought of anything actually, but I am training. Even now I am working out twice in a day. I mean, that is just to get over this lockdown,
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to have a small gym at my place. So the entire family, we work out there. And in morning, evening, one hour or so. And I keep on participating in, say, half marathons or marathons.
Okay.
Not very frequently, but without a goal, you tend to go into a slumber. If you don't have any goal, so it is difficult to keep yourself motivated. So always have a target, something. Always have 3 to 4 running events, 3 to 4 cycling events, so that you keep going. These targets are essential to keep your morale high, right?
Okay.
Now, if you ask me what next I have planned, so there are a lot of things to do. Like in the sense, see,
Example.
पूरा अर्थ है अपने पास cycle करने. You know, what I mean to say is, or it could be a sprint training or time trials that are done in cycling. I have never been into racing also, so I can think of time trials. I have never done Ironman because I'm not good at swimming. At present I have to put in a lot of effort if I have to do Iron, a lot of effort in swimming part of it, not the cycling and the running. Cycling and running I'll be very comfortable. I have swimming which I can improvise on. So swimming भी मुझे सीखना है और काफी कुछ करना है अभी.
Lot of things in a plate. Huh? Okay, tell me now, very interesting question. Cycling, running, mountaineering. I mean, there's so many things. Which one is your favorite? And why is it your favorite? I mean,
no, actually I enjoy all three things. Why? Each of them has its own set of challenges, right? First thing. Secondly, what happens is, suppose if somebody asks me that रोज उठ के ना cycling करके आ बस 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers, it will become monotonous and you will lose interest out of it. Or like you said that you were also training around 160 kilometers in a week, right? At given time when you were training for ultra marathon.
Yeah, peak of training.
Correct. But how long you can do that? How long you can sustain that, doing that same thing?
Correct.
It's very difficult.
That's a nice one.
So I have a hill near me, which is at 3-4 kilometers. I go and climb the hill someday and have fresh air there. I mean, get fresh air there. Someday I feel like running. I go for a run. Someday I pedal. So if you have, I want to add swimming also. So if I have 3 to 4 variation, then that will keep you going. You will be more motivated to do certain, keep your daily fitness regime in place. If you have variation, variation is the spice of life. So I like.
So one more thing, very interesting question had come earlier that, you did RAM along with your brother. So you need to have a lot of chemistry between you and your brother.
Right.
Considering a hypothetical scenario wherein you had to do without your brother or you were doing solo. So would you do a solo or how do you manage with a friend doing a RAM in team of 2?
A very, very important question because, I had my brother we are staying in a joint family over here and he's elder to me and he has started doing such things. I mean, the running part of or trekking earlier to me. So I have a mentor in my family. And secondly, for a team of 2 events, if anybody is planning to do, you should have a very good chemistry and understanding for that. Why I say that? Well, suppose I told you an example that we used to ride 4 hours in RAM, right? Now, if I finish my 4 hours, what I'll think now, Hitendra should come and relieve me. But what I used to do is, and vice versa, he also used to do. I used to call up, I used to communicate with my crew member and Hitendra ki vehicle mein phone karo whether he's still sleeping. If he's still sleeping, then let him sleep. I will ride one more extra hour. Why? Because if he sleeps well, next day he'll perform better. So that is what he also used to do for me. Absolutely. So that kind of understanding. नहीं मेरे 4 घंटे हो गए मैं अभी सोने वाला हूँ उसको उठाओ.
Correct.
If with that, if you have conflicts, then you will never go through the race. There will be 100 reasons to fight amongst yourself.
Exactly.
So for a team of 2 activity, you need to have somebody who is really caring for each other.
Absolutely.
I would not, in a love and caring has to be there. So only then you can get through this thing. Or
we saw that on Everest also because that was the time we both met. You both the brothers and us. So kind of relationship you both have. I mean, hats off to it. So nice. Right. Okay, one more question. Yesterday, once I was discussing with you, I saw that clip of yours with during that Mann Ki Baat and your photograph with the Prime Minister. So what did Modi ji had to tell you once you interacted with him? Could you inspire him to cycling or something on fitness?
No, actually, but he gave very dedicated time. He gave around 12 minutes and a patient hearing.
Correct.
When we stepped into his office, there was nobody coming in between, giving any file. He was signing, attending photographs, nothing. It was a dedicated ear that he gave. He appreciated. I mean, he welcomed in such a nice gesture. He was sitting on a sofa. As soon as we entered, he got up and he said, आओ महाजन बंधु, आपने हमारे देश का गौरव बढ़ाया, नाम बढ़ाया. So such a humble person, such a
no, I am sure.
Yeah,
great.
And the question that he asked is, डॉक्टर साहब इतना किलोमीटर चलाने के लिए क्या ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, कैसे ट्रेनिंग करते हो आप? The same question he had कि इसके लिए कैसा ट्रेनिंग. तो ट्रेनिंग का वॉल्यूम उतना नहीं करना पड़ता है, वो बताना पड़ता है फिर थोड़ा कि उसमें इंटेंसिटी ट्रेनिंग होता है, कभी लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस ट्रेनिंग होता है. So it was very once in a
No, I am sure, because once our team also interacted with him, we were also amazed. I mean, you listen so many things.
Yeah.
But then the kind of questions he asks you makes you realize, he's the one who's really listening to you and not just asking for the heck of it. I'm sure you mean to say the same thing.
Yes.
So so with this, I think we are done for the day. And thank you so very much, Mahendra Bhai, for your time. And it was, I mean, we read so many things. We check YouTube, we check internet, but then live listening to you about your experiences has been tremendous. And then thanks so very much for your time. And we really appreciate, I'm sure everybody who has been listening to you has been mesmerized, though I'm sure not everybody can think of doing a ramp, but then inspiration is always there. And once this lockdown gets over, everybody is going to pick up the cycle and at least do a 50 kilometers ki bhai inspire ho gaye hum Mahendra Bhai se and done it. So listeners, thanks a lot for your patient listening. We'll also have Hitendra sometime in future based on his availability, and we'll have it on Friday. We have another talk by Ricky Singh. Ricky has done, I'll share the profiles with you. Ricky was our friend on Everest last year, and he has done Brazil 135 miler, and he has done 50 marathons in 50 states of US and host of other things, and he has got many crazy plans as well. So next we'll interact with him, and before that, thank you so much, Mahendra Bhai, for your time.
Thank you, Romil. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We've recorded the whole session, and we'll share it with everyone once the recording is available. Thanks so much once again. Good night. All the best.
Thank you. Good night. झालं रेकॉर्ड नाही झालं, जाऊ दे, ठीक आहे. मला ते नंतर तू आल्यानंतर जेव्हा काहीतरी केलं तेव्हा मला वाटलं की ते नाही झालं.
नाही, मी असं सांगणार दोन म्हटलं परत ठेवून देऊ काय, परत म्हणते मी, अरे यार मध्येच नको असं वाटायला.